If you want to understand the reality of Mali and the Sahel, you need to turn off Western media and open your minds.
This should not be possible. Armed fighters just walked into Malian cities like nothing happened. No resistance, no pushback, no chaos. So the question is, how? Because this isn't just a security failure, it exposes something much bigger. In this video, we break down what happened, who is involved, what is their motive, and how did jihadists walk into Malian cities. April 25, 5:30 a.m. The silence of the morning was shattered by explosions. Residents ran into the streets to find flames and smoke pouring from the home of Mali's defense minister. Nearby, houses had been ripped apart. Even the mosque beside his home was spared.
Regarding the cowardly and barbaric attack carried out on Saturday, April 25th, 2026 in Bamako and several regions of our country, we can say that these attacks are part of a vain and desperate attempt to destabilize the state. These sponsors are both internal and external. So this sinister plan, carefully orchestrated, was intended to threaten the lives of our authorities. That is why the terrorists had several suicide vehicles at their disposal. Our first suicide vehicle was intended for the home of the Minister of State, Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs, the late Army General Sadio Kamara, and a second suicide vehicle, which this time was intended for the residence of the Head of State, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Army General Assimi Goïta. Thanks to the promptness and responsiveness of our personnel, they encountered on site and directly in front of them a vigorous response, which of course made it possible to contain the threat.
Within hours, the attack spread. This wasn't just one attack. 5 cities across Mali came under assault. Gao, Sévaré, Bamako, Kati, and Kidal. Each one has a strategic importance. Military bases, supply routes, government presence, and access to major roads connecting northern and central Mali. The targets reveal the strategy. These aren't isolated attacks. The attackers chose cities that could weaken the Malian state, disrupt the army, and spread fear across the country. Bamako is the political heart of Mali. Kati housed powerful military leaders. Gao controlled key routes in the north. Kidal carried enormous and symbolic value for rebel groups, while Sévaré connected the country's north to the south, making it the critical military and supply hubs. Who could have organized something this large? These attacks didn't just happen out of the blue. Before we can understand how jihadists entered Malian cities, we need to understand who they were, because this could not have been the work of jihadists in the bush. Behind these attacks was a network of jihadist factions, politicians, rebel groups, smugglers, and fighters who spent years expanding into the Sahel. Groups like JNIM, FLA, EIGS, etc. Some affiliated with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. How did this level of coordination become possible inside Mali's borders? Attention quickly turned to the people tasked with preventing it. Military, commanders, intelligence services, and political leadership in Bamako. Alassane Diallo is the one who led the car with explosives to the defense minister's house. Before this attack, Diallo traveled to Italy, suggesting the country's involvement. A retired military officer, Captain Sévaré Diarra, was arrested and confessed. "My name is Captain Sévaré Diarra. I'm retired. I live in Kati." The event that happened last Saturday, April 25. Before this day, on March 21, I got information from Montaga Toll saying he wants to meet me. He told me where to meet, at the Fasa Hotel towards Snow, next to the station around 4 p.m. He came, I got into his car, and we left. He told me that the situation in the country is not good. Political parties have been dissolved. There's insecurity everywhere. We will establish a new regime. My help was needed, and it was urgent. I said yes, no worries, but I have connections in the army, and we can help each other. It was Alassane Diallo. He was my friend. I hooked them up. I told them Abedi's plan. After that, Abedi made 4 trips out of the country. April 21st, Abedi came to my house and said everything is okay. That weekend, we were going to act. I said no worries. April 22, Montaga Tal came to my house to confirm. On April 25, a few hours later, I heard explosions. I went upstairs and Abedi told me it was Sadio Kamara's house and the soldiers are on the loose now. Everything is okay. Another soldier who was arrested is Jakarija Sajo. Along with these two, Officer Musa Diani and Mamadou Keita were also arrested. What's even more baffling is that Montega Tall was present at Sadio Kamara's funeral, standing among those who mourned him, while literally being involved in his demise. Montega Tall was not alone. Imam Diko and Omar Mariko are one of the biggest masterminds behind this plot. Beyond Mali's borders, other forces were at play. The battlefield was not only local, it was regional and international.
There is a buzz surrounding these discoveries.
I found about 10 passports along with about 10 identity cards.
Egypt, Tunisia, and even Canada. These passports, valuable sources of information, prove that the international jihadist movement was establishing a heavily armed rear base here. All these documents, and especially the GPS devices that were found, made it possible to trace a jihadist highway for foreign fighters.
Within days, the Algerian president was forced to respond.
We are sorry about what is happening in Mali. It wasn't prophecy, but we knew things were going to get worse because Mali has entered a phase that could only lead to destabilization.
Algeria has already been accused of funding these armed groups by the Malian state, along with regional countries such as Mauritania, Ivory Coast, and Benin. But to understand how deep this goes, you have to look beyond Mali itself. Sources claim that France, Ukraine, the US, Italy, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, and other Gulf monarchies are involved. According to the Russia-Africa Corps, the armed groups had weapons such as the Stinger, produced in the United States, and the Minstrel, produced in France. They also had weapons manufactured by the company Rheinmetall, a German weapons manufacturer. UAV and FPV drones of Ukrainian origin. Sources claim that some soldiers neutralized in Mali are Ukrainian and French.
I would like to emphasize that the Malian army is showing greater activity and strength, effectively proving to the enemy that they are not the masters in Mali. After repelling the attempted coup d'etat on April 25th, 2026, the initiative was regained by the Malian armed forces with the support of the Africa Corps. The enemy is using Western media to promote its propaganda. Their statements have nothing to do with the actual situation. The enemy is actively working with the support of news agencies, using disinformation on the internet to undermine the Malian population's trust in the authorities. A blatant example of this is the deliberate dissemination of videos showing a gymnasium filled with Russian-made weapons, which were allegedly abandoned by the Russians during the withdrawal from Kidal. Subsequently, it appeared online that this video had already been used by Ukrainian soldiers in Ukraine. It was also presented as a piece of disinformation. In reality, it is a video from 2023 filmed in Russia. I know that Mali's allies support the current authorities and condemn the actions of the jihadists. They are also carrying out airstrikes against these groups, which demonstrates their support and commitment alongside the Malian authorities. All the events of April 25th. The main strategy of the terrorists relies on weather conditions. Their plan was to achieve results before the rainy season, a period during which military operations become more difficult due to mobility and security constraints.
I know you're asking yourself, what do the Gulf states have to do with Mali? Al Jazeera is owned by Qatar and it has been part of the disinformation campaign against Mali. A Saudi-owned news company recently invited a tea leader on their channel to promote his agenda. Other Gulf monarchies are reported to be funding these groups. The answer lies in the north of Mali. Northern Mali is home to one of the most rich resourced areas in the country. The chaos in Mali is not a coincidence. is fueled by outside actors who can't invade Mali themselves, but rather use armed groups to continue the supply of precious minerals and have some kind of deniability. These external actors rely on internal destabilizers to bring down Mali in order to split the country into two and name the north Azawad. They do so by taking advantage of the Tuareg ethnic group and JNIM to cause chaos in the country.
While you were in the rebellion, who financed you?
As far as I'm concerned, yes. Me, I was never financed by anyone. By the grace of God, I was able to organize based on my intrinsic values and my legitimacy, which I derive from my community, who also obtained weapons with their camels, with their cows, with everything else, to organize them and set them on the path of salvation, which is that of Mali and the Republic of National Unity. On the other hand, those who came from Libya, indeed, they had the green light and the agreement of France to empty all the warehouses for which they were responsible over there, betray Gaddafi, and come in exchange, there would be Azawad. Hamad Mahmoud, the former minister in charge of external relations, said it. Oh, he did not hide it. He says, France told us, abandon Gaddafi, we'll open a corridor for you, go and take back Azawad, we'll give you independence. Hamad Mahmoud said it, he's alive, he's very lucky, he doesn't mince his words. So when we realized that the plot was clear, we as committed Republicans were not afraid to get involved in this turbulence to save what could still be saved. That's how we...
So is that how this whole Azawad story started?
Exactly. It was really a fool's bargain, and it was France that orchestrated it from the beginning to destroy Gaddafi, to destroy the Libyans, whom it divided into 1,000 pieces. Today, it talks to us about all sorts of things, but as for the serious consequences, it will have to answer for them before history. And if there is justice in this world, Sarkozy and all those who worked with him must answer before a court of law. If they do not answer before this justice, they will answer before God's justice, because that is inevitable.
I was forced to take a stand, not for political reasons, but for scientific reasons. There has never been a chieftaincy, a kingdom, or an empire of Azawad. I mean, never, never. How can you talk about a territorial reference? Territory is an important political concept. That means it's a space you can control with armed forces, with military forces. That has never been the case.
According to a French journalist, and I quote, France has no soldiers in Mali, and for the past 2 weeks, jihadists and Tuareg rebels have captured several cities and is seeking to overthrow pro-Russian junta with the support of France. To understand how this happened, Malian journalist Abdul Niang sums it up perfectly.
How were hundreds of terrorists able to infiltrate Bamako and Kati? There's not a single city in Mali that isn't a sieve for these people. It doesn't exist. Why? The reason is quite simple. In front of us, danger is considered as such when it concerns you or your family, but never when it's the entire nation that is threatened. Does no Malian feel directly concerned? That's the mindset of evil. That's the mindset. Which means that public officials, not all of them, but the majority, in the posts and the borders and the security posts, the officers arrives, vehicle arrives, the apprentice gets out, he gives 5,000 to 10,000 so that it is not searched and we pass. The money is paid by the state to ensure public safety, but that is his behavior. In addition to his, all he needs is for the vehicles to come. So per day, if 30 vehicles passing this way, and each one pays 5,000 per day, he has 130,000 or 200,000. He takes it, puts it in his pocket, and lets the vehicle pass. Terrorists are inside, it is not his problem. The weapons are inside, it is not his problem. He lets it pass. In such an atmosphere, in such a corrupt country, especially when corruption reaches the judicial and security apparatus, what is still surprising? What else surprises you? And all the enemies of Mali, they have no respect for the public administration for Mali because they think that's how the Malian administration is. All you have to do is throw it away when they take it for crumbs.
And these words point to a deeper reality about the fragility of security across the country.